all because a single sprig of cilantro appeared in the spicy pork. My wife ruthlessly kicked me out of our home. Don't you know my handle is no cilantro, please? With those words, she flipped the dining table, leaving a chaotic mess across the floor. The biting wind whistled through the night, leaving me shivering outside for half an eternity. My daughter opened the door, only to lead the yard dog inside. Who told you to make mommy so furious? You deserve to be banished from the house. Uncle Wong next door would never be as careless as you. My daughter left me with nothing but a cold, distant silhouette, slamming the door shut in my face with a heavy thud. A chilling sensation gripped my heart. My daughter Linlin is exactly like her mother, Jiangman. A stone that never warms forever hardened against me. I took a deep, shaky breath. Stepping away from the house I called home for 5 years. Jiangman's career had skyrocketed over the years. Her suburban villa was in a remote spot where taxis were scarce. By the time I trekked to the city center, dawn had broken. Fortunately, I had grabbed my phone before being exiled, saving me from becoming a literal vagrant on the streets. Utterly exhausted and drained, I found a cheap motel and collapsed inside. When I finally woke up, darkness had already fallen. My throat felt like parched sandpaper, and my skin was burning with heat. I knew instantly that a fever had taken hold. I ordered some fever reducers via a delivery app, along with a spare phone charger. After swallowing the medicine, I drifted back into a heavy lethargic slumber. When I woke again, I felt significantly better only to realize my phone had died. The moment it powered back on, a flood of missed calls and texts from Jiangman filled the screen. There were even a few from Linlin scattered among them. A second later, Jiangman's phone rang again. Hello? Shou Kong. Enough is enough. Where have you been hiding these past 2 days? I couldn't track you down anywhere. Linlin and I have been stuck eating takeout for 2 days straight, and the dining room smells like rotting garbage. You're nowhere to be found when there's cleaning to do. Get your pathetic self back here right now. You knew perfectly well that for New Year's, I gave all the domestic staff the holiday off, and yet you chose to pull this disappearing act. You're doing this just to spite me, aren't you? Fine, let's just break up. It's honestly pathetic. 5 years together and a daughter to show for it. Yet Jiangman stubbornly refused to sign a marriage license. I've already given you a child, she'd say. What more could you possibly want? I'm warning you, don't push your luck. I knew that night wasn't actually about a sprig of cilantro. It was a calculated warning shot aimed at me. 3 days ago, I caught Jiangman dining with her childhood sweetheart Wang Ping. When I got home, I brought up the marriage certificate again, and as expected, she shot it down. That sparked a massive blowout between us, followed by a cold war that lasted days. That night wasn't just a dinner for the three of us. It was supposed to be a reunion. I genuinely intended to apologize to her, but she wasn't looking for an olive branch. She seized on a single bit of cilantro to humiliate me, all to force me back into my place and remind me who's boss. Fine. Message received loud and clear. I'm done crawling back like a desperate dog. But Jiangman remained completely unfazed. Our daughter is 5 years old, she scoffed, and you're still trying to play the breakup card. If she grows up without a complete family and develops deep-seated psychological issues, you're the one who's going to suffer for it. I won't suffer and she'll be perfectly fine. I'm just notifying you we are done. The kid stays with you. With that, I cut the line and hung up. I let out a long, heavy exhale of state. The moment I said those words, a weight lifted off my soul. No more revolving my entire universe around those two. No more walking on eggshells terrified of their next tantrum. Hardly a second after I hung up on Jiangman, my daughter's call came flashing through. Are you really leaving mommy for good? Yeah. I won't be bothering either of you ever again. That's great, mommy. Since dad is finally gone, is Uncle Wong going to be my new daddy? When is he coming over? My own daughter refuses to acknowledge me. It hurts more than anything I've ever felt. I gave a self-deprecating laugh and ended the call. There's barely any money left in my account. I need to secure a job immediately. I reached out to an old connection hoping for a lead. Li Fang arrived and downed a glass of water like a maniac, before asking, why don't you try being a male nanny? You've already got 5 years of solid experience, and you raised your own daughter perfectly. Besides, kids are such a nightmare to manage these days. Finding a reliable nanny is like finding a needle in a haystack. I'm down for it, I replied. But where exactly do I even find a gig like that? I actually have a single mom on my list right now. Her kid is 5 years old. Why don't you give it a shot? I followed Li Fang to the client's residence. Located in an upscale complex, Li Fang knocked, and a young girl swung the door open. She glared at us with pure unadulterated annoyance. Ugh, you again. Don't you get tired of bothering us every single day? Jahui, I've told you. Be respectful when you're speaking to Uncle Li. This gentleman is here to apply for the nanny position. He has 5 years of childcare experience, and the patience of a saint. He'll take excellent care of Jahui. Then get in here already. Let me give you the rundown on Jahui's situation. The biggest hurdle is getting her to actually eat. This kid is an incredibly picky eater. If you're up for the challenge, we can start right now. Yuli looked at me with a glimmer of hope. Having a job made me ecstatic, of course, so I accepted without a second thought. Yuli requested that I be a live-in nanny. I hesitated at first, trying to decline. But she explained she was rarely home and usually had to drag her daughter to the office. I have hired several nannies already, but Jahui drove them all away with her little stunts. If you can live on site, it would take a massive weight off my shoulders. Seeing my lingering hesitation, Yuli smiled. You're Li Fang's friend, so I trust you implicitly. And you can put your trust in me too. I promise your pay will always be on time. I finally nodded. Jahui was certainly energetic. Every day she seemed to have a bottomless pit of stamina, which was the polar opposite of how Linlin used to be. Linlin was always so reserved and stoic, like a miniature adult, spending every waking moment buried in her books. I once genuinely feared she might be suffering from autism. Hey, I want those kitty-shaped cookies. Make them for me right now. Jahui was clearly hiding something behind her back. What else do you want to eat? This is for you. Thanks for making me all that delicious food. She shoved it into my arms and bolted away instantly. I chuckled at the kid's antics before a wave of melancholy hit. I had dedicated every single day to being there for Linlin, yet I never received so much as a tiny trinket, let alone a kind word or a pleasant expression. Whatever, I need to stop dwelling on it. It's not like I'm ever going back to that life anyway. By the time I stepped out with the kitty cookies, Jahui had already scrubbed her hands and was perched at the table. She snatched a cookie and prepared to shove it in her mouth, but I lunged forward to stop her. Hold your horses. You'll burn your tongue off. Jahui let out an annoyed huff and curled her lip. Well, couldn't you have cooled them down first? Now I'm just staring at them like a torture victim? You can blow on them yourself, I teased. But don't overdo it. Save some room for the actual dinner. I've experimented with a brand new dessert today. Jahui scarfed down a cookie in one go, looking up at me with eyes sparkling like diamonds. She gestured wildly for me to hurry up and serve the main course. Yuli actually managed to make it home early today, which was rare. Wow, it smells heavenly in here, she exclaimed upon entering. Did Jahui actually behave and eat her meals today? Jahui was far too preoccupied with her plate to answer. She was totally locked in on her food. Have you had dinner yet? Suddenly, a loud, long stomach growl echoed through the room. Yuli gave me a sheepish, embarrassed grin. Jahui, with rice grains stuck all over her face, laughed joyfully. Mommy, come eat, hurry. Uncle Joe's cooking is literally the best. After double-checking her dietary preferences, I whipped up 2 stir-fried dishes, 1 meat and 1 veggie. The mother and daughter shared the meal amidst bright laughter. Yuli chatted happily with Jahui, and they even started a playful tug-of-war over a piece of steamed bun. Mommy, you're a big bully. Uncle Joe made that specifically for me. Those 2 pieces are yours, so stop trying to snatch mine. But you're already nibbling on my portion. I don't care. This bun is mine. I was tidying up the kitchen chaos, but hearing their banter made me chuckle softly. A scene filled with this much warmth had never once occurred with Jiang Man and Linlin. Those 2 always stayed in their own separate worlds, treating my care with nothing but pickiness and constant criticism. Linlin would only look at my animal-shaped cookies with pure disdain. Ugh, this is so incredibly childish, guys. Can you stop making stuff like this? Uncle Wang says I'm a big girl now, and big girls don't eat stuff like this anymore. Jiang Man would just sit there completely indifferent to it all, before frowning and picking at a dish with her chopsticks. This is way too salty. I'm trying to lose weight, so make something light and bland next time. Once dinner was over, Yuli headed straight to her study to grind through some work, politely asking me to keep an eye on Jahui. I sat with Jahui on the sofa flipping through picture books, narrating stories to keep her entertained and happy. They're so pitiful, she whispered. Having to search for their mommy all by themselves? I'm so lucky I don't have to go looking for mine. I'm just a tiny little kid. What if a bad guy snatched me away? I grinned. For such a young age, her sense of vigilance was impressive. After an hour of reading, I suggested we watch some cartoons for a bit. She tilted her head deep in thought, her expression twisted in a brief struggle, before righteously declining. No, I shouldn't. Linlin in my class is super smart and amazing. She wins a little red flower every single time. I need to read more books, so I can be just as incredible as her. I froze for a moment, stunned. I gently stroked her hair. But you're still so young. Forcing yourself to study too hard isn't good for you either. Jahui blinked her large, curious eyes at me. Exactly. Besides today you've already tackled your opinion and Chinese characters, on top of an entire hour of reading picture books. You've been great. It's time to relax for a while. Well, okay then. Just a tiny bit of cartoons. In the middle of our show, Jiang Man called me. You've officially crossed the line this time. Get your butt home right now. The water heater is busted and there's no one to fix it. Plus you failed to pick up Linlin from school today. If the teacher hadn't called me personally, I wouldn't have known how utterly pathetic you've become. The moment you locked me out in the cold and left me for dead, we were finished. From now on, no one will be there to cater to your every whim. Don't you dare call me again. I hung up on her instantly, exactly the way Jungman used to hang up on me. Even after the call, Jungman refused to back off, spamming my inbox. Jokong, you're freaking heartless. How can you just abandon your own flesh and blood? Are you even human? If you don't crawl back here this instant, don't expect to ever lay eyes on your daughter again. If I had read those threats in the past, I would have been a devastated weeping mess, doing anything to crawl back into their good graces. But not this time. From the second they left me to freeze without a second thought, my heart went cold. Biological daughter, life partner, none of that matters anymore. Protecting my own peace and putting myself first is all that counts now. I powered off my phone and completely ignored the noise. The next day, while picking up Jiahui from school, I ran right into Jiangman. I'm telling you, you're dead to your daughter. Linlin doesn't need a pathetic father like you. Do you have any idea how much weight she's lost from hunger while you're out here living your best life? Don't think for a second you can just waltz back in. The surrounding parents shot me judging suspicious glares. Pushed to my limit, I fired back at her. So, during all these days, you didn't even bother to take care of Linlin. You just let her starve. What kind of mother are you exactly? When you left me to freeze to death outside, did you care for even a second that I'm Linlin's father? Did you care if she'd be heartbroken? You only used that child as a human shield, a weapon to manipulate me. Honestly, maybe you shouldn't be a mother at all. Jiangman never expected I'd humiliate her so publicly. I ignored her, standing firm while waiting for the kids to emerge. Jiahui, clutching her little backpack, sprinted toward me and lunged straight into my arms. Uncle Joe, she chirped excitedly. Did you make the rose cakes today? I've been craving them all day. I made them all, you little glutton, I chuckled. I even squeezed some fresh fruit juice. How about we go home and finish every bite, okay? Jiangman, holding Linlin's hand, hissed in displeasure. Jokong, did you cheat on me? Is this your secret child? I shot her a look of pure disdain. Don't talk nonsense. This is the daughter of my employer. So you actually spent these days job hunting? Just come back home. Why are you wasting time raising someone else's kid? Linlin needs her father. Linlin just looked at me and let out a cold, sharp huff. Jiahui wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered, Uncle Joe, are you going to leave me? Seeing her trembling with anxiety, my heart instantly melted. Listen, Jiangman, we aren't even legally married. Harassing me like this is honestly pathetic. Besides, my absence makes room for Wang Ping to move in. Isn't that exactly what you and your daughter wished for? Without another word, I walked away with Jiahui. Perhaps my blunt words finally hit home. For a good while, they stopped pestering me. A few days later, the kindergarten held a family craft day, inviting parents to join. Yuli asked me to go in her stead, as she was drowning in work and couldn't break away. She even threw in a generous bonus for the trouble. Jiahui poked her head through the doorway, looking at me with wide, hopeful eyes. When I arrived that day, Linlin blocked me at the entrance. She spread her arms wide. I didn't ask you to come. Uncle Wang is the one accompanying me today. Just leave already. The teacher only gave us a single seat. If you stay, Uncle Wang won't have anywhere to sit. Just as the words left her mouth, Wang Ping appeared and shot me a fake apologetic smile, though his eyes gleamed with triumph. Sorry about this, Brother Joe, but Man insisted I come today. Right then, Jiahui rushed out from the classroom. Beaming with joy, she sprinted over. Uncle Joe, I was so worried you wouldn't show up. Hurry, let's head inside. I had never once participated in an event like this before. Linlin never invited me, not even once. I bet it was always Wang Ping who filled that role. This time I was lucky enough to bask in Jiahui's light, gaining a brand new experience in this life of mine. Jiahui and I collaborated on a 3D SpongeBob SquarePants model, which even earned us high praise from the teacher. Suddenly, Linlin stormed over with a heavy stride, snatching the SpongeBob right out of our hands. Her little face was a mask of pure fury. My daddy made this, so it belongs to me. I'm the one who should be getting all the praise. Jiahui looked at me completely bewildered. Wang Ping's face flushed with intense embarrassment as he tried to whisper for Linlin to come back. But Linlin is arrogant and hopelessly spoiled. She expects everyone to bow to her every whim. The teacher looked on with an awkward expression, glancing between us. Jiahui's guardian, Linlin gloated triumphantly. My daddy made this. I'm the one you all should be jealous of. I instantly reclaimed the SpongeBob and handed it back to Jiahui, declaring coldly, listen closely. This time, I am here specifically as Jiahui's guardian for this family craft day. Linlin, your guardian today is Uncle Wang. That little fish model is your actual project. Linlin instantly lost it, throwing a massive tantrum. In a fit of rage, she grabbed Jiahui's SpongeBob again, hurled it to the floor, and stomped on it. You're my dad. Whatever is yours belongs to me. That's what you get for not giving it to me. Enough, I barked, shoving her aside. I knelt to retrieve the mangled, flattened SpongeBob. Is this how I taught you to bully your classmates? Linlin stared at me in a daze, utterly stunned, before breaking into a lalado hito, yao, loud hysteria. She probably couldn't handle the sudden fall from grace. In the past, I wouldn't even dare to speak a harsh word to her. I felt a surge of pure irritation. This child has been spoiled beyond all reason. Jiahui was on the verge of tears, staring mournfully at the crushed remains of her SpongeBob. I pulled her into a gentle hug. I'm so sorry, Jiahui. It's my... Suddenly, she lunged forward 2 steps and shoved Lin down. That was mine. You stomped on it and broke it. You have to pay me back right now. The entire classroom descended into absolute chaos. The teacher, nursing a massive headache, ushered out the other families, leaving only the 4 of us behind while the kids continued to sob. The teacher demanded an explanation for the fallout. I laid out the cold hard truth without sugarcoating it. Wang Ping sneered sarcastically, imagine ignoring your own flesh and blood, just to play hero for someone else's brat. Aren't you the one obsessed with being a substitute daddy? What right do you have to judge me? Wang Ping was left completely speechless. In the end, the matter was simply swept under the rug. Jiahui insisted that we keep this a secret from Yu Li, terrified of making her mother sad. I took Jiahui to KFC for a comfort meal, trying to mend her wounded little heart. Returning home, I found Yu Li slumped exhausted on the sofa. She forced a weary smile when she saw us walk in. After Yu Li sent Jiahui back to her room, she revealed that Jiahui's biological father had come looking for them. I tested the waters. Should I leave then or no? Don't go. What I meant was, would you be willing to enter a fake marriage with me? Jiahui's real dad is... Never mind. If this makes you uncomfortable, just pretend I never asked. I didn't even hesitate before giving my answer. I'll do it. But this service costs extra. Yu Li let out a sigh of relief. Deal. Don't worry. I'll make sure you're well compensated. Jiahui came sprinting out of her room, thudding across the floor, and lunged straight into my arms. She looked at us with wide, hopeful eyes. Mommy, are you and Uncle Joe getting married? Does that mean I can finally call Uncle Joe Daddy from now on? Yu Li looked at me with an awkward flush, trying to quiet her in a low voice. Don't talk nonsense. I pulled Jiahui into a hug. Actually, you can call me Daddy starting right now, okay? Jiahui looked absolutely ecstatic, running back into her room once more. When she emerged again, she was clutching a small box which she handed to me. She said solemnly, then you must take perfect care of Mommy. If you don't, I won't call you Daddy anymore. It was strange. Despite Jiahui basically threatening me, I found her display of protectiveness incredibly adorable. I reached out and took the small box from her. Pinky swear I promise you. If I lie, I'm a rotten little puppy. Yu Li had been blind to a man's true character before, marrying an absolute scumbag. She barely managed to divorce him and get him locked up. But he was just released a couple of days ago. Now he's hell-bent on snatching Jiahui back. The kicker is that the bastard is a total sexist. He nearly sold Jiahui off once before. If Yu Li hadn't caught him in the act, the consequences would have been unthinkable. I gently patted her shoulder to comfort her. It's okay. I'll keep a sharp eye on Jiahui. Yu Li was likely paralyzed by fear as she suddenly lunged into my arms. I immediately held my breath, frozen like a statue. After what felt like an eternity, she pulled away, flushed with embarrassment. I'm so sorry. I just lost control of my emotions for a second. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go check on Jiahui. I bolted immediately after saying that, trying my best to ignore my racing, frantic heartbeat. Yu Li specifically carved out 2 hours to go and register our marriage certificate. Even though this marriage was strictly business, it was still my first time ever getting hitched, so I planned a massive feast to celebrate the occasion. I gave Yu Li a heads up about the dinner, and after a brief pause, she promised to be back by 8 p.m. Honestly, I didn't hold much hope that she'd actually show. I knew firsthand how chaotic running a company could be. Your time is never truly your own. A random client or an emergency meeting could derail your entire schedule in a heartbeat. Jiangman used to work until midnight as a matter of course. Holidays and special occasions were always brushed aside. But to my absolute shock, Yu Li actually walked through the door at 8 o'clock sharp. Our first day of marriage definitely deserves a celebration. Yu Li was clearly obsessed with my cooking. She spent the entire meal showering me with praise. Jiahui followed suit, complimenting every single bite. So yummy, it's so good. The mother and daughter even had a playful spat over who got to devour the very last bite. In the end, they reached a truce and dropped it into my bowl. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This is what a real home is supposed to feel like, filled with laughter, warmth, and genuine appreciation. Midway through our dinner, Jiangman started blowing up my phone. I kept rejecting the calls, but she kept dialing back. Maybe you should just answer it, Yu Li suggested. What if it's an actual emergency? I stood up and stepped into the living room, where Jiangman's frantic voice instantly pierced through. Zhou Kang, why do you keep dodging my calls? Linlin is sick. Do you even care? Get back here right now. I can't handle this alone. Is it a fever? Listen, call an ambulance first. Linlin usually falls asleep after getting an injection, so use that time to go buy her some millet porridge. And remember to add some sugar. She won't touch it if it's bland. Zhou Kang, can't you just come home? Our daughter is ill. How much longer are you going to hold this grudge? Just call for medical help. We can settle our issues later. Besides, I can't make it over right now. It's too far. Where are you anyway? I just got married today. I'm staying with my wife, so I can't come over. Married. Who gave you permission to marry someone else? Humph, who would even want a loser like you? Then Linlin's voice came clearly through the receiver. Daddy, are you abandoning me? I know exactly what Linlin sounds like when she's sick, and it's certainly not that loud and energetic. Jiangman was using the child to deceive me. I took a deep breath and decisively hung up the phone. I had already cleared the way for Wang Ping. Jiangman is free to marry whoever she wants. No one is stopping her anymore. So what is the point of this pathetic drama now? With the kindergarten closed for the day, Yuli and I decided to take Jiahui to the amusement park. But the moment I swung the door open, I saw Jiangman standing there clutching Linlin's hand. What are you doing here? I asked, my brow furrowing in irritation. Jiangman looked utterly haggard and worn out, while Linlin stood there with her head hanging low. Zhoukang, the daughter and I are here to take you home. Don't bother. Wang Ping might get jealous if he sees this right. Besides, I'm a married man now, so please stop intruding on my life. Then what about Linlin? Do you really have the heart to let her grow up in a broken home? Then why didn't you sign the marriage papers for 5 whole years? Wasn't it because you were keeping that spot warm for Wang Ping? Daddy, I know I messed up. Please come back, okay? Linlin will listen to everything you say from now on. I'll call you Daddy every single day. Please don't abandon me. In the past, I would have forgiven her without a second thought. But after that fateful night, I am truly deeply terrified. I'm scared that one day in the future, this mother and daughter will actually stand by and watch me die. I brushed her hand away. I'll make sure the child support is transferred on time, I said coldly, but I am never coming back. Anyway, your Uncle Wang should be thrilled to be your daddy. Didn't you adore him more than anyone? Unexpectedly, my daughter burst into hysterical tears. Uncle Wang is horrible. He doesn't know how to make kitty cookies, and he never reads books with me. All he ever gives me is instant ramen, and it tastes absolutely disgusting. I just want to eat your cooking again. Jiangman looked at me with a complicated expression. Zhoukang, Linlin is your own flesh and blood. Can you really bear to see her like this? Didn't you used to cherish her more than life itself? She was right. Linlin used to be the center of my universe. I protected her as if she were the most fragile treasure, terrified that even the slightest breeze might hurt her. But all I ever wanted was for her to acknowledge me as her father, to give me a single kind look or a genuine smile. Somehow even that became an impossible luxury. It felt as though I was nothing more than a dog to them, to be petted when they were in a good mood, and kicked to the curb when they weren't. They even intentionally locked me out in the dead of winter. Even the dog in the yard was ushered inside while I froze. I am truly utterly done with them. Zhoukang, weren't you heading down to get the car? Why are you still standing at the door? Oh, President Jiang, what brings you here? So she is the person you married. That's right. Zhoukang and I legalized our union yesterday. Well? For a moment, I honestly didn't know how to handle Jiangman. I finally realized that all this time, we were just stumbling through a messy, confused relationship. Jiahui twirled around playfully in front of me, showing off her brand new dress. Daddy, doesn't my new dress look absolutely stunning? You actually let her call you Daddy. He's my dad, not yours. I won't let you call him Daddy. That's enough, Linlin. Stop making a scene and screaming here. Right now, I am Jiahui's father. Zhoukang, maybe we should skip today, so you can sort out your personal affairs. Jiahui's little face instantly slumped with disappointment. I scooped her up and headed straight for the stairs. I made a promise to Jiahui and I intend to keep it. Otherwise, I'd just be a lying puppy. I took Jiahui to go buy some cotton candy, while Yuli went to join the queue for tickets. Linlin ran over, reaching out her arms for a hug. Daddy, I want some cotton candy too. Jiangman, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? You treated me like garbage in the past, and now you can't stand to see me actually happy. Were you and your daughter literally born to ruin my life? Linlin stared at me on the verge of breaking into tears. But this time, she didn't receive a single ounce of her father's pity or comfort. Stop following me. For some reason, Wang Ping showed up as well, trailing behind Jiangman and her daughter, yet neither of them gave him the time of day. He looked exactly like the pathetic version of my past self. But none of that is my concern anymore. Right now, Jiahui's happiness is the only thing I want to protect. I held Jiahui tight as we rode the carousel, with Yuli standing nearby capturing every moment on camera. We even asked someone to take a group photo, then bought 3 balloons and tied them securely around our wrists. Once we were completely played out, we headed to a hot pot restaurant to grab a meal. Jiangman and her group sat diagonally across from us, with Linlin staring at me with hollow, longing eyes. She was likely waiting for me to cave in like before, and start doting on her again. Just looking at them irritated me. So I suggested swapping seats with Yuli. Maybe we should just find somewhere else to eat. Jiahui was sipping on the milk I brought for her when she accidentally spilled some on her clothes. I whipped out a wet wipe to clean her clothes, muttering no need. Jiahui really loves the food here. Yuli's gaze softened as she looked at me. Zhoukang, if only you were Jiahui's biological father, everything would be perfect. From now on, I am her real father. I playfully pinched Jiahui's chubby soft cheek. Daddy haha, that's my good girl. Our Jiahui is truly an angel. As we stepped out of the hot pot restaurant, Jungman blocked my path, her voice sounding drained. Joe Kang, we need to talk. Yuli grabbed Jiahui's hand and said, I'll go bring the car around. Jungman suddenly produced a ring and grabbed my hand, attempting to slide it onto my finger. You want to get married now? At that moment, a wedding band was already shining on my hand. I yanked my hand back and said coldly, Jungman, this ends right here. You've seen it for yourself. I have my own family now. Making a scene like this will only ruin your reputation. If she continued this desperate pursuit, she would be nothing more than a homewrecker trying to ruin a marriage. How incredibly ironic. I used to dream day and night about marrying Jiangman, but now that I've moved on and wed another, she's the one who won't let go. When Jiangman finally left that day, she spoke with chilling determination. Zhou Kang, you are only allowed to marry me in this lifetime. I knew she was going to pull some pathetic stunt, but I never imagined she would actually target Jiahui. That afternoon, I went to pick up Jiahui as usual, but she was nowhere to be found. Jiangman threatened me, saying if I ever wanted to see Jiahui again, I had to divorce Yuli immediately. Linlin suddenly ran out and lunged into my arms, looking absolutely ecstatic. Daddy, are you finally here to take me home? Where is Jiahui? You're in the same class as her. Why hasn't she come out yet? Linlin looked away guiltily, unable to meet my eyes. I called the police instantly, and then alerted Yuli. I pushed Linlin away and growled at Jiangman. If anything happens to Jiahui, I will make sure you pay dearly. I stormed into the kindergarten to find the teacher, but she claimed Jiahui had left alongside Linlin. Realizing something was terribly wrong, the teacher rushed me straight to the security monitor room. After scouring the footage for an eternity, I finally spotted Linlin leading Jiahui toward the back gate. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged from the dark, shoving something into Jiahui's mouth. Almost instantly, Jiahui lost consciousness and collapsed. The stranger then scooped her up and vanished into the night. I raced to the exact spot where Jiahui had been abducted, only to find 4 different diverging paths. I had absolutely no clue which way they went. The police arrived on the scene in record time, deploying a massive manhunt to track her down. Yula was hysterical, sobbing uncontrollably with grief. 1 grueling hour later, the officers finally located them. I supported the trembling Yuli as we reached the site. Jiahui had been locked inside a filthy rural chicken coop, tossed aside like trash onto a pile of dried straw. Her usually silky neat hair was now matted with weeds. Yuli lunged forward, gathering Jiahui into a desperate embrace. Her ex-husband was dragged out in handcuffs by the police. I lost all control, charging forward to bury my boot in his gut. You animal, you actually tried to sell Jiahui again. I'll beat the life out of you. The officers allowed me to land a few solid punches, before finally stepping in to pull me back. Enough, that's plenty, you'll end up killing him. Miraculously, Jiahui was physically unharmed. She had only been dosed with a common sedative. The full, ugly truth quickly came to light. Jiangman had conspired with Yuli's scumbag ex-husband, using Linlin to lure Jiahui to that back gate. They naively thought that by using Jiahui as leverage, I'd be forced to crawl back to them like a loyal dog. Yuli stayed home to nurse Jiahui for several days, until her secretary sent a frantic message. The company's trade secrets had been leaked. I finally saw Jiangman's true twisted endgame. She was using this chaos to completely dismantle Yuli, paving the way to expand her own business empire. It finally clicked in my mind why Yuli's name had sounded so familiar. Jiangman had mentioned her to me once before. Yuli was her most bitter professional rival. Yuli always managed to stay 1 step ahead of her, besting her at every turn in their high-stakes competition. She had been plotting Yuli's downfall for a long time. Discovering that Yuli and I had tied the knot pushed Jiangman straight over the edge. I brought her a bowl of pork and century egg congee. Here, eat. Once you've eaten, go handle the situation at the company. I'll look after Jiahui, so just go ahead and do what you must. Yuli's eyes were clouded with deep exhaustion. She forced herself up, finished the meal, and changed her clothes. She grabbed her bag and walked out with a newfound resolve. During this turbulent period, Yuli spent every waking hour at the office managing the crisis, while I stayed home, never leaving Jiahui's side. Thankfully, Jiahui had no memory of that traumatic day. She just kept asking why she couldn't go back to kindergarten, and why her mommy wasn't coming home yet. I gave her vague answers to keep her mind at ease. Half a month later, Jiangman called me, her voice trembling in desperation. Zhou Kang, you have to save me. Yuli is genuinely trying to destroy me. Doesn't her daughter listen to you the most? Please beg her to stop, okay? Save me, Zhou Kang. Remember, I'm the one who gave birth to your daughter. Jiangman, you brought all of this upon yourself. Deal with it. Now where is Linlin? Are you just going to abandon Linlin too? If I lose everything and end up with nothing, she's going to suffer right along with me. I hung up the phone without a shred of mercy. Even now, I'm still haunted by the shock that Linlin, a mere 5-year-old child, was capable of committing such a calculated betrayal. A week later, the Jiang Corporation completely collapsed. Yuli took Jiangman, her own ex-husband, and the kindergarten to court. As for Linlin, the responsibility of her life fell back to me. When I went to pick her up, she actually looked happy. Daddy, I finally get to live with you again. Make me my favorite noodles tonight. Okay, since I am Linlin's biological father, I am legally obligated to provide for her, but I refuse to let her move into our new home. Instead, I hired a professional nanny to look after her. The moment she saw Wang Ping, she let out a piercing scream. Daddy, I don't want him here. But now there was no one left to cater to her whims. My daughter Jiahui used to be a massive headache for me. I went through countless nannies, but none were the right fit, until Li Fang introduced me to Zhou Kang. And honestly, Zhou Kang has been doing a phenomenal job. He's managed to get Jiahui perfectly under control. Finally, I can focus on my career without any distractions. Zhou Kang is undeniably a spectacular father figure. His patience with Jiahui is boundless, and his cooking is beyond heavenly. Every time I return home, he leaves a light on for me, with a fresh meal waiting in the kitchen, as the warm food hits my stomach. All the day's exhaustion feels like a price worth paying. A single uncontrollable thought began to take root in my mind. I absolutely must keep this man by my side. Who could possibly say no to the ultimate family man? Certainly not me. So I manufactured an excuse to propose marriage. This way I could secure him forever, having him raise my child and manage the household as my anchor. The best part is this man is motivated purely by money. So I offered him a staggering salary. Now no one can ever steal him away from me. When I received the news of Jiahui's disappearance, my heart literally skipped a beat in pure terror. Thank God for Zhou Kang, his constant reassurance kept me sane. While I was home with Jiahui, the company hit a crisis. I was internally spiraling and torn, but Zhou Kang pushed me to go and take out the trash. The process was grueling to say the least, but fortunately, the final outcome was a total victory. After Jiang Man was locked away, I took the initiative to ask Zhou Kang what would happen to Linlin. He told me he had already secured a professional nanny and would visit her occasionally. He swore to me that he would never bring her into our home. Right now, there isn't a better solution available. This is the only way forward. After all, he is Linlin's biological father. Providing for her is his inescapable legal duty. The moment Zhou Kang walked out that door, Jiang Man's passion for me completely evaporated. Even Linlin started treating me like I was invisible. Later, I finally got my wish and moved into Jiang Man's house, only to realize the sheer hell Zhou Kang went through. Managing every single detail of that mother and daughter's lives was a monumental backbreaking workload, not to mention the endless chores and constant emergencies. The tempers of Jiang Man and her daughter were far from pleasant. The first few days were manageable, but then things went south. I messed up the outfit Jiang Man needed for a banquet, botched the jewelry coordination, and accidentally ruined her shoes. I missed the deadline to pick up Linlin, and I couldn't cook anything remotely appetizing. Their patience with me were dangerously thin, constantly comparing my every move to Zhou Kang. Wang Ping, are you seriously this incompetent? Zhou Kang never would have let this happen. You wanted me to wear bright red to a charity gala? You're trying to humiliate me on purpose, aren't you? Uncle Wang, why didn't you pack my homework in my bag? I told you I wanted a dress today, not pants. Daddy used to braid my hair so beautifully, but your braids look totally hideous. Living through this nightmare firsthand, I desperately regretted ever messing with Jiang Man. The urge to flee crossed my mind more than once, but I couldn't bear to lose the taste of luxury. The moment Jiang Man was hauled off to prison, I vanished without a single backward glance.